Hi there, sorry, I was on mute. I think we'll get started. My name's Jen Gatenby. Not a good start. I'm the care practice manager, and I'll be hosting with Lucy today. Lucy's from Kalgoorlie, she's a caseworker there. And we have Heidi Potter, she is a carer ambassador. She's been a carer for a long time with Life Without Barriers and has cared for many children. Heidi, do you want to just quickly... How long have you been with us, Heidi?
So I've been a carer, it's just coming up to 10 years now. We've been with Life Without Barriers and we've had quite a few children in that time, but we've also got quite a few long-term children that have been with us for 9+ years, or a couple at least that have been with us for 9+ years already. So yeah, quite a long time now.
Yeah, thanks, Heidi. So Heidi will be probably a great source of information for you. So what we'll do is at the sort of during, just put questions in the chat box that we can answer. And also Heidi, she'll be here at the end so we can just go through questions then. Yep, so any questions, just pop in the chat box and we'll get to those. So firstly, we'll do a welcome to country. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land we're meeting on today and pay my respects to their elders past and present. I also acknowledge my gratitude that we share this land today, my sorrow for some of the costs of that sharing, and my hope and belief that we can move to a place of equity, justice and partnership together. So today we're just going to look, explore some of the answers to questions that we hear from people who are, keen to find out more about whether foster care is the right journey for them. So we'll talk about who is Life Without Barriers, what is foster care, what are more foster carers, where are more foster carers needed. We'll talk about the different types of foster care and tell you about children in care. We'll have some stories from care, who can be a carer, and some of our most frequently asked questions. So, yep, we're a leading social purpose organisation in more than 440 communities across Australia. We're a large organisation, and we support 4,500 children and young people and 3,000 foster and kinship carers. We also have a disability program, so supporting people with disability. And we have, I'll go through different types of care further along. And also we have 1,700 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people supported. So about 60 to 70% of children in care are Aboriginal. And in the family groups homes in Kalgoorlie, where Lucy is, there's 100% Aboriginal children. It's always important to keep the children connected to their cultures. Okay, so what is foster care? For children who need time away from their family. So it's providing a safe and supportive home so where they can grow. Sometimes it's for a night, sometimes it's for longer, it's a week or a year, or as Heidi sort of pointed out, she's had some children in her care, for over 9 years. So there's many different types of foster care, but we'll talk about that soon. And sadly, there's 50,000 children unable to live safely in their homes in Australia. So we're always really looking for foster carers, and that figure is actually increasing all the time, sadly. So where are more foster carers needed? Well, that's absolutely everywhere, really. So as you can see here, these figures. So in WA, we've got like 1,600 children in foster care and nearly 2,000 children in kinship and relative care. So there are different types of foster care. And as you know, when it comes to fostering, no two children or families are the same. So some children need foster care just for a few nights, while others need a more permanent home. So these are the different type of programs that we have here at Life Without Barriers. So respite, so that's generally children who are already in foster care, usually children with higher needs or sort of, more extreme behaviours. So those foster carers do need a break, and that's generally a couple of nights every fortnight. That's a more specialised, though. So respite carers are more, I guess, we have nurses or teachers or people who have that experience in that area. Because our general foster carers don't actually access respite. So we also have emergency or crisis care. So emergency, that's...
Can I just go back to respite?
Yeah.
Jen, sorry for interrupting. Also with the respite care, sometimes we also engage with families as respite carers for families, particularly with children or people with high needs. So it's not just for children in care. Sometimes we are supporting families as well.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Heidi. We have quite a few children referred to us for the emergency placements, like every day, and they need a home for a night, 7 nights, 14, 21 nights. So, and sometimes that can actually go on longer. It's a sort of a time where the Department of Child Protection would be looking at the families and other family members to provide that care, or a more longer term option. We've got short to medium term care. So so short term can be anywhere up to 2 years. So generally short term care where a child might be on a court order for 2 years, a 2-year order. So that gives the parents or the parent an opportunity for reunification, to maybe sort of, do programs and work towards the children returning into their care. And that, again, doesn't always happen. And then that could still go to an 18 order. We don't actually have kinship care in WA, but we have long-term foster care. So that's children who come into care to the age of 18. And lots of Life Without Barriers carers have children placed with them long term. We're not primarily seeking carers for this particular webinar today, but Lucy can talk about this because you might be interested in this as well.
So in Kalgoorlie, we are always looking for carers who want to live in a family group home. So the family group home model is we'll be looking for 2 carers, mostly a couple that are willing to live permanently in the family group home on a 3-week basis. So they will come and live in the family group home for 3 weeks and go away for a respite or a break for 1 week. Some people might choose to live for longer, for example, for maybe 6 weeks or 7 weeks, then go away for 2 weeks. We can always talk with people to suit their needs or whatever suit them best. So to be living in the family group home, do you have to be situated permanently in Kalgoorlie or Broome? No, you can be situated in any area, but you may be willing to live in Kalgoorlie or Broome for those 3 weeks or 6 weeks at a time. And you also be provided with a financial carer reimbursement for the care you are providing the child. And this is also tax-free, and it will be based on a fortnightly basis. And whilst you're living in Kalgoorlie or Broome, you'll be provided with accommodation as you'll be living in the family group home with the children that you're caring for. And it can be up to 4 children. Sometimes they can be siblings, but sometimes they may be unrelated. And you'll also be provided with a vehicle that you'll be using to transport children as well to school or their daily activities, and all the utilities and food will all be covered for when you are in Kalgoorlie. Over to you, Jen.
Thanks, Lucy. Okay, so I guess what is the Life Without Barriers approach to foster care? To support the best outcomes for children and young people in out-of-home care. So We're implementing an evidence-based therapeutic model of care, which is, it's called CARE, Creating Conditions for Change, which has 6 principles. So relationship-based, I guess when we're looking at relationship-based, you know, children needing that trusting, meaningful relationships, you know, so that they can grow and become confident in all aspects of their lives. Yeah, so there would be definitely more training around this. So this is something that we're implementing at the moment. And being developmentally focused. So having strategies, I guess, where a child is at their lives and you want to set them up for success. And then trauma informed. So really understanding these young people have experienced significant trauma in their lives and what impact that trauma has had on their brains. You know, so, and there's a lot more training as well around trauma. So having family involved, so the young person's always going to be connected to a family in some way, you know, because it's part of their identity, and keeping them connected to their culture and their community is really important. And having family involved is really important to a child's well-being and success. So our carers don't actually facilitate any generally family contact. That's done through the Department of Child Protection. There are some exceptions when there's been a long-term placement. I think Heidi, you may have something similar.
Yes, we organise a lot of our family contacts, but you know, we're quite a way down the track. But initially, it was definitely organised by the department. But for our long-term children that we've had for quite a long time, actually, even some that we've only had for 2 or 3 years, we do all the family contacts.
Yeah,
it's really important for the children to feel like we're all one big family. You know, they are always there, part of their lives.
Yeah. So being competency centred, so children need to be helped to develop the skills, knowledge and attitudes that they need to negotiate every day. You know, it's just about you being able to develop those skills with that child or young person. And ecologically orientated, so that's about creating a supportive home environment for the children and young people that you might be caring for. You know, having an environment that's, you know, to their needs is really important. And I think that Lucy's able to talk through that just in one of the family group homes, and Heidi, you can probably talk a little bit about that as well, you know, how important that actual living environment is for that child.
Yeah, so the environment is very important to suit the child and the age of the children that are living in that home. For example, in one of our family group homes, we've got children that are aged from 8 to 16. So we have to provide that home with some resources to make sure it suits the children that are in there and it is culturally appropriate. So we were able to change, these children are all Aboriginal children. So we've got their paintings, pictures of their moms, pictures of the children, and we've allowed those children in the house to actually show their personalities as well. One child really likes motorbikes, and even though he's Aboriginal and he doesn't like his Aboriginal pictures, but we've got pictures of the motorbikes that he likes. And as a teenager as well, we've given that child the space to make sure that she's got rules on her door. Please knock before you enter. But we are allowing that child to actually show their personality. So the environment of the child is very important to suit the child, the age, and the culture as well of that person.
Thanks. Did you want to add anything, Heidi?
And I think something that I've learned over the years is that because, sorry, I was just going to say that I think that's something that we've learned over the years too, is that we have to be very trauma these a little differently to what our biological children may do. So being ecologically oriented and that around that too means that we have to support our children and our teenagers possibly a little bit more to gain independence. They can be very wealthy wise, but to actually live successfully is a different thing. So we need to be a little bit more conscious of that around them. We also in our home have family photographs of each of the children in their bedrooms and available. They're just up for the children to have around. So it's more like just a really great big family home. That's really important. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, so can you tell me about children in care? So there's many reasons why children come into care, lots of different reasons, you know, can be substance abuse, drugs, alcohol, neglect, different types of abuse. So children in care are generally from the ages of 0 to usually 18, and they come from a range of cultural backgrounds, and we've spoken about the families who are really important to them. You know, being removed from a family is going to cause trauma, and, you know, living with a new family, it's very traumatic and really overwhelming, and it takes a lot of time and patience. So this is just saying children in care have suffered trauma of some sort. You know, there's physical, emotional, sexual abuse, witnessed domestic violence, neglect, not given the support that they, you know, that they need to grow and develop. So what's the most important role of a foster carer? So what we've got actually videos here, but unfortunately when we open them, the sound doesn't work. So Lucy's actually going to put the links to some great resources and videos and that you can watch in your own time. So there's like the children who have been in care, their stories, there's foster carers, and, you know, they'll tell you the good, the bad and the ugly about it, about foster care. So, you know, I really encourage you to watch some of those videos, and it's just on our Life Without Barriers website. So Lucy will put that in the chat box. Who can be a carer? Well, it's more than likely that you can be a carer. Obviously, carers can be married, single, divorced, from all backgrounds and cultures. Yeah, it's about your ability to care for a child. That's what really matters. So generally you must be over 21 with relevant life experience. So what we say, our rule of thumb is really 25. But that's not saying that we don't look at younger, you know, sort of assess or pre-assess younger applicants. But generally that would be someone with the relevant life experience, or example, like their parents were foster carers. You know, if we're looking under 25. Experience is desirable, obviously, but not essential. Well and healthy. During this, during the pre-assessment stage, we do have our applicants have a GP check, and that's generally, it's not around blood pressure and things like that, it's just your ability to be able to provide care, that you're well and healthy enough. From any cultural background, you can be single or in a relationship. Background checks, so we do probity checks, we do criminal history checks, we do a Department of Protection check. You know, there is a lot of paperwork and checks and things like that. You need to work without working with a children's card. You know, and it's really important. The reason that we have to have all this, because we're placing really, you know, vulnerable children. So we are ensuring that we've got all the background checks that we need. You can be with or without children, and that, you know, say if you have a child who's 10, we would generally place a year younger than that. That's generally what we would do. So sometimes there's exceptions again. Active and willing, and complete required training. So we have training that goes over a month, and it's every Wednesday night for a month. And it's called the Foster Care Preparation Training, which is you have to have completed before you can be a registered carer, and it's really great training. And we have ongoing training at Life Without Barriers, you know, through, I guess, recently not so much face-to-face, just with what's been happening, but there's a lot of resources and online training. So yeah. Some frequently asked questions. So that's, am I single? Can I foster? Yes. 50% of our foster carers are singles. Families come in all shapes and sizes, and so do our carers. Same-sex couples, absolutely. Can I foster even though I don't have my own children? Yes. And I've talked about the assessment process. We'll look at the skills that you have that you might need, or the skills that you might need to develop through training opportunities. Yeah, and that assessment will sort of look into what may be the best type of placement for you, the best child match in terms of your skills and experience. So our great foster carers have patience and understanding. Heidi?
Sorry? Do I want
Our great
I think
foster
it's
care-
me. I think I keep going in and out. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying our great
line
foster
here.
carers have patience and understanding. Yes. Lots of acceptance and availability.
Absolutely. Loads of patience.
Yeah, big commitment, a flexible approach, and obviously you need time to give, and a commitment to maintaining and strengthening those family relationships.
Yeah.
So about the process. So how long does the assessment process take? I would say you were looking at around 3 to 6 months. It's quite dependent. So there's an initial stage. So like today, if you were interested, we've got a callback sheet which Lucy will put on the chat. So the best thing is probably to copy that and fill that out and then lodge that. So what happens is then the central inquiry team, they will complete a sort of initial screening interview. That's about 45 minutes long. So then they will forward that through to our team and we will look at that and give you a call, and we'll make a time to come and visit you in your home and do a home safety check and, just have a good conversation for about an hour and a half. During that time, you'll get all the paperwork and you'll get all the probity documents, the police clearances, etc. That can be sometimes the hold up in terms of, I think, it can be 3 months for an assessment. However, we need all the paperwork completed. So the sooner that gets done, the process is a lot faster. So then there's training, as I spoke about, and then you'll have an assessment. So you'll be assigned an assessor who will come and see you probably 3 times for approximately 2 to 3 hours each time. Do a full assessment on the Department of Child Protection competencies. So that's a big piece of work, and then that assessor will actually write that up, and that will go to a panel, and that's a panel of about 5, and then you come along to the panel, and that's where you're approved or not approved. Generally, by the time you get into the panel stage, most, I think, like 95%, 90%, yeah, will be approved. So yeah, it is a long and it is quite an intrusive process. However, that's what we need to do to get the right foster carers for Life Without Barriers and for our children in care. So what support will I receive? So like I said, you're never alone in the journey. We've got our carer ambassadors as well who are always there, you can contact and have a chat. We've got training, 24/7 on-call support. So there's always somebody on the end of the line. Our caseworkers go on a roster. So there's always emergency, there's after hours, there's always someone there. Financial support, you will receive a reimbursement. So that's a tax-free reimbursement, which we can that will be talked about more sort of during your pre-assessment stage as well. We've got specialist support, and that's around, we've got clinicians and Life Without Barriers. So they're generally psychologists, social workers, and they can offer additional support. Respite, as we've talked about, and carer networking. So, we have morning teas and things like that, and we'll have which we'll be having one quite soon, actually, won't we, Heidi?
We
and
will.
things like that.
It's
Yeah.
one coming up.
So we encourage the carers to be, to get into hubs and to have support from their peers, because I think, foster carers, talking to foster carers, you have that more relatable, that on the floor experience. Which we have an approach called the Mockingbird family. Now, that is getting rolled, hasn't really come out yet. Sorry. That's something that is, I think, in the pipeline. We haven't really embedded it completely yet. So that's the Mockingbird family. So I won't go through that, but I'll just I'll leave that slide up if you just want to have a read. Yeah, so it's essentially it's carers supporting carers. There's obviously a lot more to that. So yeah, that's something even you can look, if you want to Google that and look it up, there's a lot of information about the Mockingbird family as well. Yep, so if you'd like to continue the conversation about foster care, you can find more information on our website. There's heaps of information on our website. It's actually really great, and that's where you'll get your, if you want to watch any sort of the videos. Yeah, so this is me. So my number, I'm more than happy for you to give me a call if you want to jot down my number and name. And I can talk through any questions that maybe at the end that you feel like we haven't covered. So yeah, so thank you. So yeah, Lucy's going to put that. Have you put that on, Luce?
Yes, I have. And there was a question from one of the attendees, thank you, Patty, about do all the organizations all work together? As it is noted, there is now Mercy Care, Love Without Barriers, and other not-for-profit organizations. Do they all work within the same framework, network within the Department of Communities? So I've responded to that and say, yes, there are different organizations. It depends. For example, in Kalgoorlie, we don't have Mercy Care, but we do have Life Without Barriers. So some of these not-for-profit organizations are in different areas, but all of these children are under the department, and the department may be the Department of Communities are the legal guardians of these children.
Yeah. And I guess
and sometimes different organizations specialize in different areas. So yeah, that's another factor as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've got any questions about Heidi, if you want to sort of add anything in, that you think is going to be really valuable.
Fire away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just if anybody does have any questions, please just ask, and I'm more than happy to answer. And you've got Jen's number there. If anybody would like to speak to me specifically, Jen can take down your details, and I'm more than happy to call you back and have a chat as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually, because, Heidi will be a great person for you to talk to if you're really interested.
I've been on the ground for a long time, so I'll give you the raw lot. Yes. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. So, yeah. Did anyone have any more questions they wanted to add into the chat?
There's nothing at this stage that I can see. Maybe people are still typing, so we'll just give them a few minutes.
Sure, thanks.
Maybe I should just add that if anyone is interested in the family group home for Kalgoorlie or Broome, feel free to contact either Jen or myself as well, and I can put my mobile number in the chat box as well.
That's a good idea. Thanks, Liz. Okay, Liz, So if you put your number in there, and I think that would be great. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today.
Sorry, Jan, there's one question.
Oh, sorry.
What age group is the hardest to place with families?
So that would be, I would say teenagers, 12 and up is the hardest for us to place. A lot of people, you know, we seem to be having a lot of interest in sort of more providing care to younger children. So it definitely would be the teenage sort of years from 12. I see that one. Can we have pets? Is it okay? Yes, absolutely. It's fine. You know, I mean, there's always, as long as your pets are good with children. And there is sometimes, you know, one effect of trauma would be some children may harm animals, but that would be carefully matched around, I guess, you know, carers who do have animals in terms of placements.
So we have several pets in our home, and we actually found that they're very therapeutic for our children.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Having the cat just come and sit next to them quietly on the couch without being intrusive, and just the little hands go over and they just start stroking the cat without even thinking about it, or outside and playing chasey with the ball with the dogs. It's very therapeutic for the children.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yep. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Lucy and Heidi.
We have children of our own to go to school.
So yeah, just you can call me. You've got the link
So
there.
I'll just answer that last question.
Oh, sorry, it's another one.
Hang on, sorry, Jen. I'll just answer that last question about the children going to school. Our children have all gone to my bio children's school. My bio children are grown up now, but yes, they all did go to the same school. And it really depends on the longevity of the placement. If it's going to be a short-term placement, we try and keep the children in their own school, only for the stability and it's somewhere that they know and feel safe. But if it's going to be a long-term placement and you know that they're going to come into your care for a long time, yes, generally you're more than well, generally they do go to your own child's school, yes.
Thank you. Okay, well, we'll look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.